So, I want to be honest, just under 24 hours ago, I had no idea what was going to say to all you guys. You know, I could start off by throwing a bunch of charts and graphs at you guys to better illustrate the point I'm going to make. But if the past decade of school has taught me anything, graphs don't really help people retain any information. Sorry, teachers. So, I'd like to take all of you guys back to 2008, if you were alive then. So, I was in my living room, television on, my mother was cooking dinner, my father grading papers. But weirdly, I don't remember what I ate that night. I don't remember what my father was grading exactly. But one thing I'll never forget was what I watched on that television that night. Television was flashing bright colors, red and blue, just like my favorite Marvel movies. But it wasn't Captain America rushing in and fighting me great. Rather, it was Jeff Greenfield telling me which ways certain states would swing. Now, 7-year-old Kevin Kim was so captivated by the 2008 election. Yet, 7-year-old Kevin Kim also had no idea what was going on. What was a swing state? What is an electoral college? But surprisingly, many American adults today similarly share that lack of knowledge. To many, it's just Democrat versus Republican, Democrat good, Democrat bad, Republican good, Republican bad. And sadly, that sentiment is still ubiquitous today. And to many, we just assign words and emotions together without really delving into the issues that matter to us. And one of the biggest problems is that the political apathy amongst American citizens is the biggest contributing factor to this issue. So, from 1962 to the 21st century, political apathy has been even more evident throughout the American voter base. That 2008 election, less than 10% of voter-eligible people voted in their respective primaries. And that was before Thanos' snap. Even in local elections, where you have your neighbors, perhaps even your friends, running, and yet people still did not care. So 17-year-old me and 7-year-old me are completely different. Since then, I've started a high school Democrats chapter here at Haynes Academy. I've worked a multitude of campaigns on local, state, and national level through canvassing, card making, and phone banking. I've worked on national level with a bunch of similarly minded political activists across the nation, both Democrats and Republicans. And as I entered this political arena, it's become increasingly clear to me how disinterested people are. For example, this is basically how all of my cold calls went while phone banking for congressional campaigns. And as you guys can see, many people hung up or simply didn't care to listen. And according to the Harvard Business Review, 90% of cold calling is ineffective. And that is a staggering number. And while I was thinking about the disinterest amongst American voters, I came upon a peculiar realization that many of you may have made yourselves. With an average voter turnout of about 30%, how come these are the type of comments I see on social media every day? How can Americans be so passionate yet indifferent about the same issues? How do we match our ignorance with zeal? And why do we keep feeding off this negative energy? So, even recently, partisanship has become even more evident within our political arena. Relationships have been broken, familial ties gone, friendships torn, all because we have different views and ideas. But this is the United States of America. We're one of the most diverse countries in the world. We're supposed to be different. We're supposed to be able to think differently. And we're supposed to be able to thrive in our communities without fear of backlash for our ideas. Yet, it's not like that. Here, we see that 13% of respondents to a Reuters poll admitted that they ended a relationship. A relationship, yes, because of an election. And many others, they blocked their own family members from social media, not because of embarrassing photos, but because of political differences. And this has been pervasive even into the workplace, where an overwhelming amount of American workers felt that their work was hindered because of political differences with coworkers, and that they also felt that political views will be forced upon them in the workplace. Now, how can America collectively work together to diminish the amount of political polarization in our society? So I want to go back to the 2016 election, one of the most divisive elections in American history. And I want everyone here to think back about what you were thinking during that time. So when I think back to the 2016 election, I was very passionate about this election. I was very passionate about who should win, who should lose, who was good, who was bad. But when I think back, the first thing that I think about is not either major candidate, it's not the primaries, not the town halls, not the debates, not CNN, not Fox News, but rather, it's those 7-year-olds in their living rooms watching their TV, just like I had. Now, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household where political views were not forced upon me, and instead I was encouraged to develop my own ideas and thoughts. But sadly, this is not the prevailing culture in America anymore. We fiercely defend our own beliefs, yet we are unable to listen to others. We welcome our allies in open arms, yet we ruthlessly slander and shun our enemies. Is this the type of environment do you guys want to leave for the next generation? Is this the type of environment you want the next generation to think as normal for political discourse? And simply the answer is no. Because we can't have a nation that prioritizes party identification over our relationships. We can't have a nation where minds are seldom open and never changed. And we simply cannot continue the cyclical cycle of how we keep forcing upon our views, force-feeding our ideologies, and spreading hatred to generations that follow. So, do you guys want to change this? So, I have good news. We, as members of the freest, most democratic nation in the world, have the power to do so. But, as the French National Convention said, great power is followed inseparably by great responsibility. Or in more common terms, with great power comes great responsibility. So we need to be able to encourage young people in our lives to, yes, be informed, to, yes, be engaged, but most importantly, to be open-minded, respectful of other people's opinions, and to be able to individually think for themselves. Because our nation has adopted this mob mentality, where people are unable to think for themselves with rationale and common sense, and rather we are negatively influenced by our peers and their hatred, and their ideologies, and all of the hatred they have for the other party. And that's just not how our nation is run. And if we continue running our nation like this, then what is America? What is the purpose of America? America was founded on the basis of people having different ideas and coming together. So that takes me into our English class, taught by Ms. Becker, who's a great teacher. We learned what brings together a divided nation, what brings together divided people who hate each other so much, but are still one identity. And the answer was a common enemy. The common enemy throughout the course of our great nation's history brought together the Americans who were divisive at that time. For example, Woodrow Wilson brought together Americans when they were so politically divided to fight against a common enemy, Kaiser Wilhelm. And similarly, it's even in pop culture. The Avengers, they had ideological differences and they broke up because of government intervention Captain America Civil War, but they came together, united, because of a common enemy called Thanos. So simply, we need a common enemy. So let's make partisan clashes our common enemy. Let's make ad hominem attacks our common enemy. And let's just make divisiveness in general our common enemy. And together, we can oust this common enemy from our society, our world, and our nation. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Ronald Reagan, Tip O'Neill, James Carville, Mary Madeline, Ted Kennedy, Orrin Hatch, the list goes on. All bitter political rivals, yet at the end of the day, they came together as lifelong friends. At the end of the day, some even came together as lifelong partners. So let's learn to do that, and to separate our political divisiveness, and learn that our relationships matter more. Thank you.